It's so vitally important for you to figure that out. If you can only support creators who provide value and make you think, please consider contributing to my Patreon page the next time you watch one of my videos. Hello everybody and welcome. Today I wanted to go over kind of concept of when exactly it is time to give up on an idea. Now, as a millennial, and this is definitely an overgeneralization, but as somebody in the age of the millennials, I definitely noticed that I fit into the stereotypes a little bit in certain ways, actually in many, many ways. But one of the biggest issues that I come up with is the concept that things should be happening faster than they are. You know, that success shouldn't be as challenging as it has been thus far, and that, you know, I should have something working by now. And I just read a tweet by Zen Black, one of my favorite Twitter individuals, or actually it's a couple, so one of my favorite Twitter handles. And he was discussing how many of us are rolling too quickly. We judge ourselves too harshly in too short a period of time due to how quickly technology has advanced within our lifetimes. So we kind of expect things to shift very, very quickly within our lives, and when they don't, we kind of go, oh, well, maybe I'm just not good at this. Maybe I can't make this work. Maybe I should just try something else. Maybe I should give up. And I am not new to this concept. I've been pretty actively working towards building some form of passive income or some way of generating money outside the 9-to-5 work environment for at least 8 years or so. But I haven't been consistent in any single thing for more than probably 2. So while that feels like a hell of a long time to me, my consistency level is still only about 2 years, and that can be a bit of a problem because I tend to give into the doubt much earlier than, say, somebody that is older than me often does. So it got me thinking, well, what is the time to give up on a dream? And the truth is, the conclusion I came to is, when is it the right time to give up on you and live merely for survival? And the answer to that is never. Whenever I think about getting a job, it feels to me like a betrayal of myself. And I know that many people don't understand this. I am not entirely sure where this particular psychology comes from. But whatever the case may be, it feels like a betrayal of myself. Every time that I get a job, I feel like I let myself down and I gave up on my dream, and now I'm just kind of stuck in the job. And so I fall into depression, and then I have to leave the job because, honestly, I'm too depressed. I can't keep doing it unless I'm willing to be depressed all the time. So, you know, clearly a lot of that has to do with my internal scarring, and not everybody is going to share this perspective. But the point is, whenever I think about getting a job, it's because I've given up on my dream. And that happens with frequent regularity and in very short periods of time because of the financial strain, typically. If I had no financial strain, there would be no need to go out and get a job and support myself through other means. But whatever the case may be, it's extremely challenging for me to have a job and pursue another dream at the same time because of the psychology I have around jobs. So, if you are willing to, say, exchange 30 years of your life for money at a job, and that's cool with you, that's totally fine. But when it comes to me, it should never be okay for me to give up on my dreams. And it should never be okay for you to give up on yours. Now, I know that mine have a particular challenge in them, and that, you know, I struggle with the the standard job, which could potentially pay for my dream. So, I have a very challenging physical requirement to kind of work past in my pursuit of this goal. But ultimately, it is not okay for me to just be like, well, I haven't gotten the followers, I haven't gotten the income, I haven't gotten the success, or, whatever the case may be. It's not okay for me to say that after 6 months of time. It's just not feasible. Now, Zen Black says, that essentially success can take up to 10 years. And I think that a lot of people put a time limit on success as well. And I think what they really mean is that and I think what they really mean is success comes somewhere within 10 years, usually, of consistent movement toward a particular goal, whatever the goal may be. So, that's not to say that it will take 10 years, or that you have to do it for 10 years in order to find some semblance of success. It's merely that they're merely saying don't judge yourself for not being there until maybe 10 years down the line. And honestly, I personally think that even 10 years down the line, you probably shouldn't judge yourself too harshly, because there's so much luck involved in success, and we really don't state that often in our world. Luck plays a really big part. It's kind of that whole fate versus free will thing. They both are factors in how the world works. So you have to be aware that while you can choose your path, you don't necessarily know how many steps it will take to reach your goal. And even when you do reach your goal, it's still only going to be a stop on the way to your final destination, whatever that may be. So I guess in essence, I'm saying don't give up on your dream. You are way too young, no matter what your age is, you are way too young to settle for a life less than what you want. And I know that this is a very millennial thought as well, but honestly, I think that every generation can benefit from this concept. You don't have to settle for a life that you're just okay with. And I know that it's scary to go out and pursue something that you truly care about, but honestly, I don't know how you can possibly dedicate 5 years even to something that you hate, or to something that makes you depressed, or to something that you know in your heart is not the right place for you. Now, that might not apply to many aspects of your life, but that does mean if you are terribly depressed in your marriage, maybe you should leave. That's not to say that you should, but you really need to start considering your emotional well-being when it comes to decisions in your life, because you cannot be of benefit to anybody if you're constantly depressed. You are less productive when you're upset. You cannot be fully present with somebody else if you're angry all the time. The best gift you can give to somebody else is your positive emotion, is your complete presence, is your time and your energy. And the only way you can give those things is when you are fully present within yourself and stable enough that you no longer worry about where your next meal is coming from, where your next house payment is coming from, where your next tank of gas is coming from, whether or not that person is going to be there tomorrow, all these other things. So don't give up on yourself, and don't settle for less. I think this is something that is kind of a culmination of several different generations, honestly, because millennials aren't known for sticking it out, and yet they are very good at not settling for less. So we need to start combining kind of these lessons from both, or from many generations, both hard work and not settling, and apply them now. And I think that's going to be a big factor in our development as a race, or as a people, as a species. That's the best one, I think, species. we also need to keep in mind that persistence can be a factor. And it's not necessarily a factor because there is a time requirement for success, merely that you need to put enough energy into something to achieve it. And many times that's going to come over years of dedicated, consistent practice. Similar to playing guitar, it might take 24 hours to fully learn guitar, but more than likely you're going to want to divide that up into several days because you're not going to be able to play a guitar for 24 hours straight when you first get it. Same with success. You cannot do it all at once. You have to allow time for things to percolate and to grow and for your mind to relax and reset and come up with new ideas and so on. So we cannot give a hard and fast rule about how long it will take for success to come. But what we can say is that success will come if you are willing to dedicate enough time to it in order for success to come. And however much time it takes has to be okay with you, which therefore means that everything you want to achieve, make sure that you truly want to achieve it. Look at your why. Figure out the reason behind the action. Figure out the reason behind the goal. And I know that this sounds easy. It really isn't, at least not for me. Figuring out why I want something often comes down to what emotion am I trying to get out of this, and how do I expect to get it. There are a lot of issues that can come into this same concept. I have mentioned a couple times that figuring out why you do something, figuring out your intention, is very often the most important part, and that is no exception here. Figure out why you want to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. I have for so long pursued money, hoping to find some way in order to survive without having to get a job. But I discovered recently that even though I say I'm moving toward money and wealth, the reason I'm moving toward money and wealth is so that I can get away from poverty. And I've never really been super duper poor, living on the street kind of thing. I've had very generous parents and, a lot of support in particular areas of my life. But I am still trying to move away from something despite the fact that I say I'm moving towards something else. So sometimes it can take years for you to figure out why exactly you're doing something. And it's so vitally important for you to figure that out. So ask yourself, do some meditation, journal on the subject, figure out whatever it is you need to in order to figure out the why, the true purpose of this behavior. And from there, we can really start to move forward in a productive way. That's all I have to say today. I hope that this got you thinking. I hope that you learned something from this video. I hope that you're a little more motivated to move in the direction of the things that you truly want. And I will see you again soon. So make sure to like this video, make sure to subscribe, click the notification bell, and the next video will be up in no time. Talk to you later.